This is a quintessential truth of change. Today, first I'm going to start with a little preamble because I wanted to talk about this. Today, starting at sometime around 9 a.m., the equinox started. And I don't know about y'all, but I've been feeling physically a little, just like a little pressed. We'll just put it pressed. And my emotions are a little all over the place today. And it just seems like, I don't know if anybody ever ridden over a wake before in a boat. It seems like we're riding over a wake. And now this is the beginning of the astrological year today. This is the day to set intentions. This is the day to clear out the crap that you want to leave behind and set yourself forward. That's what this is about. And that's one of the reasons why I started the inaugural sessions of these on the 20th. Who has a pressing need they would like to understand more about? It can be everything on the planet with the exception of somebody that isn't you. I am so stuck in fatigue from burnout and I can't see a way forward. So I want to take action, but I have the fear of making a change. I'm very aware of everything happening cosmically, but with me, I am so stuck. This is a quintessential truth of change. Right there. So when change is needed, and it's basically an animal behavior fact. I mean, mammalian fact. I don't know about reptiles. I didn't study them in college, but I studied mammals and animal behavior and human psychology. There is a fact of when the old isn't working and the new is yet to begin, there is such period of uncertainty that fear begins to take over. It's like when a mouse is pressed between death and running away, sometimes they'll stop and just groom themselves. Like it's more pressing to clean the kitchen than it is to get out of the burning house. But here's what makes it safe. You are a functioning mammal. Yay. Congratulations. You are acting as all good functioning animals can. So how do you get past it is the main question. The cosmically stuck. Eckhart Tolle is onto something. It's called the power of now. How I began to help myself is instead of noticing everything that is needing to change and things that I don't necessarily have power to change, and noticing what is wrong and noticing what is bad and noticing what I don't want, I started noticing the minute things that I do have that I want. Starting with the tiniest, I'm here now. I actually have a roof over my head and I did get to eat breakfast today. When there's a win, that's where I had to start. Is starting with, okay, I'm here now. I have a roof. I have a chair to sit in. I've got food in the fridge. I'm golden for another hour. I am golden and I don't need to think about what's next, because the issue that Amanda is running up against is the feeling that if I step out, I am stepping off a cliff. Would you agree to that? Amanda's nodding her head. Then another thing that she is noticing is that if she has an idea, a possibility of moving forward, there is a piece of her back here that says, wait a minute, I am not someone who X. I am not someone who can blank. I am not someone who has ever blank. So you're running into an identity issue. I'm going to defer to what the guides are talking about right now. What Amanda is doing is the classic I can do it all moment. And her body is saying, no, thank you. Many of us, not all of us, but many of us, especially women, were socialized to be resilient. And Amanda has already proven herself to be resilient. But we were socialized to be resilient. And part of resiliency is competency. And part of competency is not needing assistance. It's a double-edged sword. And so when it is considered incompetent to ask for help or to sit down or to take a minute, it's double. I am not a person who asks for help. I am not a person who can't do things. I am not a person who, see, we're running into identities again. So how do we change it? First, we're going to find the moment in time that created this, I am a person who doesn't need help. But the interesting thing about autism is that when you learn something as an autistic person, it's in there and it's in there good. I'm a person who, so let's just find out when. I'm going to find out when, because according to the rules, all healing must happen in the moment. Right? So let's find the moment when you actually learn that I am the only person I can rely upon, because that's a common issue with us, along with I am a competent person. So we're going to find out when she learned it. And then I'm going to set up a blanket thing to help everybody release that, because not everybody is pressed as hard as Amanda right now, but we are all pressed in that direction. I think just because it is an it is moment, that is a moment of yes, does not have to be a moment of now. Do you understand what I just said? And so that is what we're going towards. We're going towards, yes, that's a wound, but that does not mean that's who I am. It's simply what happened. I want to remind you of something, and it's the something that I started with, that I was focusing on creating a reality around what I didn't want. That is the thing. And so now we can focus on creating that's what today is about, creating a reality around what you do want. And so you don't want to be the wound of abandonment. I choose not to be the wound of abandonment. And the guides are stepping in and saying the wound of abandonment is about one thing. It's about belonging. And whether or not you feel you deserve to belong, or you don't feel like you deserve to belong. Does this make sense to you? The brain is going to look for patterns, especially an autistic brain. And they're going to look for patterns that fit a belief. And so when you have a belief that I am a person who is abandoned, remember that? When you have the belief of I am a person who is abandoned, then then you are looking for evidence to support that belief. And then we are talking about how we are manifesting 24/7. So I'm not saying that you manifested this, but I am saying that there is an energetic pull. Now, earlier, I talked about the laws of manifestation. It's the law of unconscious attraction is what you're talking about right here. You are noticing this pattern of the original wound, and you're unconsciously attracting evidence to provide validation of that wound, because we all want to be right. The question is, how do we move from this space of being in a maze, in a cognitive verification maze? A body can only sustain a certain vibration as long as the entire body is vibrating at this relation. It's literally the law of attraction. It's literally the law of coherent vibration. And so when your body awakened and wanted to move to the higher vibration, you had low vibration stuff in you that had to be released. And the only way, the guy just stepped in and said, it's not the only way, but you believe it's the only way. One of the ways that humans can release stuff is that they have to notice it first. And so it helpfully comes up as pain, because humans don't tend to change anything that is anything but unpleasant or painful. We tend to shift when it hurts rather than when it needs to happen. So how does one allow the release of dissonant moments, we're going to call them, places? If you consider that the moments in time are packets of energy, the moments of perturbation, as they're saying, are packets of energy that have been files, essentially, that are left open on your computer. How does one close and delete the file is the true question. And so in your case, Amanda, since you are gifted with an autistic brain, it becomes more effortless. You know what it's like? It's like, do you remember when you got your first computer and you weren't sure how to run it? This is all, you just need to learn how to run the computer. That's it. Amanda is choosing to avoid, to go away from the wound of abandonment. So how would one do this in a generic sense. Since number one, all healing is done in the moment. And number two, all packets of energy are stuck in the moment. Does that mean we have to relive the moment? No, it does not. It just means we need to find that file and extract the message of the file. I'm going to say that again. We simply need to find that file and extract the message, the unheard message of the file. Is it that simple? Yeah. So your belief is, in the moment, is I am a person who is not wanted. Do you see how I'm asking you to look at things through the eyes of possibility rather than the eyes of this is bad and it happened to me? We're not going for bliss. We're going for neutrality. Neutrality. Let's go there. I'm not promising this moment, but I am promising to address this wound. And so if we understand that that was the message, let's check the emotions that it gave us. Oh, guide said, no, that's not the way we do this one. How we do this one is in that message of I am a person who, all you simply need to do, and everybody can play along. Find your I am a person who that you absolutely have been struggling against. Find that statement. Say it out loud. We've already said Amanda's out loud. Is this something that you believe or is true about you? Is this something you want in your life? Is this something that you know is actually you? Because when you're in the heart, you're going to hear immediately, this is not me. It's not who I am. It's not my soul. It's nothing about me. And my whole life, I've been here to learn that this isn't true about me. This is what I need to learn right now, that is not a truth. That is simply something I came here to learn, is that's not true. It has nothing to do with me. I don't even know how that started. Okay, that was a partial release. That's good enough. That's good enough. As long as we got a noticing. And it's simply the noticing. How effortless it can be to simply say, is this something that is really, that I want to keep as true about me? Is this something that is actually true? Or is it simply something I believe is true? And the only way you can know, and this, the guides say this is true, this is the only way you can know, is if you balance it against your soul's truth. And if your soul's truth says, hell no, jettison it out. You don't have to relive any moment. That's all we're doing, is opening a door that you had closed on yourself. You want to report back how you're doing now, Amanda? We're not going to go back to what's wrong. I want you to focus on what's right. That's the rule from here on out. We're not going to focus on why it's wrong. We're going to focus on how it can be right. And we give ourselves permission to take tiny baby steps. But that's how you walk. And and of course, what did I immediately do? Sit on my butt. Remember how many times, I don't know about y'all, but I remember how many times I whooped on my butt. So you're going to let yourself have the grace to whoop on your butt. Okay, Amanda?
I think I've done that so many times
No, it's not about you. It's about growth.
Yeah, but the the constant getting up when I have felt so defeated, and yet I'm still here.
That's not what we're doing. That's a resilience. What I'm talking about is I took a misstep away from walking towards what I want.
Right.
And they said that's the next thing that is possible to learn. Excuse me, I spoke wrong. These guides, man, they're very good. So that's what they're asking you to do, is give yourself the grace to backslide. It is a difficult thing to change your point of view if everything was black and white and now you suddenly have new colors. I don't know why it works, but the guides taught me this years ago, and it works. And Amanda will nod her head if it does. It does. because that was an old belief that's deeply entrenched. One of the hardest to get rid of if you ask the psychological people out there that are licensed. Unlike me, I'm not licensed, which is why I am not giving psychological advice here. I discovered the fastest way to bring it back is to ask if it's gone. The guides are saying focus on where you want to be and what you actually want. Positive and negative is a judgment call in the human mind. Therefore, when you focus on the positive, you are literally focusing on where you wish to travel. When one is driving down the road, one does not look in the rearview mirror. One looks out the windshield. When one is wanting to make a left turn, one does not look to the right. That is precisely what the guides are talking about in this moment of time. And so when you are choosing to turn away from a long-held belief, looking at the belief and looking for the belief will recreate it, because the mind wants something it is already known to exist. It feels safer with the past than it does with the future.